Hello and welcome to another episode of Nightcap with Nightcat, the kitsch-minded show where we talk about toys, boys, and life's other joys. I am your host, Nightcat. Thank you so much for being here. We've got such a great show coming up for you. First, we're gonna get into the litter box, and I'm gonna tell you some of the stupidest news out there, including a Kentucky Derby horse who tested dirty for drugs. These animals are all on drugs, I'm telling you. And then we're gonna get into some sunken treasure. We're finally gonna open the last Harry Potter candy maker that I have in the collection. This is the only one that's still sealed. We're opening it up. We're gonna actually try to taste this candy. I'm sure it's disgusting. But before we get into any of that, I wanna tell you from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much. Yesterday on the morning announcements, at the end of the show, I had made an appeal and I was like, listen, if I can get 10,000 followers on TikTok, they'll enter me into the TikTok Creator Fund and I'll start getting paid to make videos for TikTok. So if you could just follow me, that would be awesome. And you answered in such a huge way. Take a look at this. Pow! 10,500. I only needed 100. I ended up getting like 700 people showing up to follow me. So thank you again so much to everyone who went and followed me on TikTok. If you haven't yet, at Jackson Witt. Listen, this isn't just a big follower grab. I promise there's good content there that you'll want to take a look at, including brief 1-minute clips from this show. And then there's also me putting on pajamas wrong, which was my most famous video ever. It got 9 million views the first time I posted it. I literally just put pajama bottoms on one leg, I take the other leg and scrunch it up over my head, and it turns into a pajama dress. Go take a look, it's hilarious. TikTok, at Jackson Witt. But thank you everyone so much for following me and continuing to support Nightcat. It's been amazing, and we've got so much more in store. I have so many cool things planned that are coming up, and I couldn't do it without you. So thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. Don't forget, if you haven't subscribed to this channel yet, go subscribe to it, like this video, and leave me a little comment. That would be fantastic. That helps get the videos out there. Okay, I'm done asking you for favors, I promise. Now it's time for me to move on with the show. Let's get into the litter box. Ew, what stinks in here? The litter box is the part of the show where I dig through the stupid news and I only bring you back the very best. I don't want you sifting through stupid news and making yourself dumber. I'll dive in. I can't get any dumber. So I go into the stupid news and I only bring back the really best stuff, the stuff that you want to know. And I want to get started with the Kentucky Derby. So the Kentucky Derby was May 1st. The winner was a horse named Medina Spirit. Now, Medina Spirit was recently disqualified and will not be crowned the Kentucky Derby winner after testing dirty for drugs. That's complicated, but I guess there are certain drugs that are illegal in horse racing, and Medina Spirit was loaded up on one of them, which is like an anti-inflammatory. The trainer claims they have no idea how those drugs got into that horse. I certainly wouldn't shoot my horse up with drugs. That's not something I would do. This same trainer has had 5 medical violations since May of 2020. So there's probably a pretty good chance he definitely injected that horse. They are waiting for more test results to absolutely confirm it, but as of right now, that horse is disqualified and probably will not get the prize or the money, pending those test results, obviously. Medina Spirit would be the first horse since 1968 to be disqualified. That horse in 1968 also disqualified because of drugs. All these horses addicted to drugs. And do you remember, it was on Morning Announcements, I think, a little while ago, I talked about this dog in New Zealand who won a dog racing championship and then was later disqualified because they found meth in its system. Everyone's gonna be like, oh yeah, don't dope up the animals before they race. I'm on the opposite side. I kind of love if we could just take these animals and make them the biggest, strongest beings possible. Let's really push the limits of science here, and then let's watch those animals race. I feel the same way about human athletes. Like, if you're gonna play baseball, I'd love to see everyone just doped up, working to the maximum human scientific potential. It sounds great. Let's throw a bunch of Hulks out there onto the field. Let's watch them play baseball. I'm telling you, it would make Sportscapall much more watchable. I might watch Sportscapall if everyone was on drugs. Turns out I'm gonna have to start watching Animal Racing because they're the only ones that actually are on drugs and winning championships. Beachgoers in California were horrified when they stumbled upon a fish that had washed ashore. Now, obviously, fish die in the ocean and wash ashore. That's nothing new. This fish, however, was particularly spooky. Let's take a look here. So this is a football fish. It is a type of anglerfish that you see down in the deep, dark ocean. You see the little lure there on the front of his head. It has the bioluminescent bacteria that make it glow, and that attracts other fishies to it. And then when those fishies get within reach, he uses those super sharp teeth to reach out and Now, the reason this is so nuts is because this fish should not be here. This pitch black fish from the very depths of the ocean, they're almost never found above 3,000 feet below sea. They're usually 3,000 feet or lower into the ocean. So if it died, and it would probably just sink or get eaten or whatever by the time it rose all the way 3,000 feet up back to the surface. It's crazy that this got found, and they're gonna obviously put it on display because this is such a rare instance. It's such a rare animal, but the crazy thing to me is that this can't be a good sign, you know? There's no way. I know that with the ice caps melting and the oceans warming up and rising, we're starting to see a lot more stuff from the bottom of the ocean coming up, so maybe that's why, which is not a good sign. Or, and hear me out, there's been a Godzilla at the bottom of the ocean for thousands of years. It has finally awoken from its slumber and scared all the fish at the bottom of the ocean to coming to the top. And soon we're gonna have a Godzilla war. I don't even know how to deal with a Godzilla. How do you do that? And finally, this is really horrifying and gross. John Wayne Gacy's house recently sold, and it went for much below the asking price. Now, this is not the original house that was there. If you don't know, John Wayne Gacy, serial killer, one of the most infamous ones, killed 33 boys at his house in Illinois. That house was demolished in 1979. They didn't let that one stick around. But a house was built like 7 years after that one was demolished on the same property, and it hit the market in 2019 with an asking price of $459,000. It sat there on this market where houses are going like the next day. If you decide to sell your house, you're gonna get a cash offer for $100,000 above asking price tomorrow. Like, the houses are selling like crazy. Not this one. No one wants to live in John Wayne Gacy's haunted house. It's been on the market since 2019. It finally sold for $395,000, like $75,000 below asking price. I don't know if the owners know that it's John Wayne Gacy's former property / mass burial site. But in Illinois, I do know, I found out, you're not required to disclose if a murder occurred on the property. Plus, that one happened so long ago that, you know, who's gonna just come right out and say it? But I feel like if you're moving into a place, you should at least Google it. It shouldn't be hard to find out that that's where 33 children were buried. And I know it's not the original house, still haunted. Sorry, those spirits are tied to that land forever. I don't even believe in ghosts, and I know that that house is haunted. Here's why I'm so confident that that land is haunted. There's a house nearby in my neighborhood that I walk my dog past, and the old house that was there scared the bejesus out of this dog. We'd have to cross the street and walk around the house because he hated being near it. I'm like, oh, that house is haunted. Something bad is happening in that house. They recently demolished that house, and they've been building a new one for the last couple of months. The dog still will not go anywhere near that house, and I feel like some sort of moral obligation to go up to the people building it and be like, hey, you know, just so you know, this place is definitely haunted. My dog, who I'm pretty sure is haunted somehow from the desert, he's just a desert ghost that I picked up. He definitely thinks your house is haunted. Am I morally obligated to tell them, hey, pretty sure you got a ghost in here. Pretty sure there's a ghost tied to the land. Do I have to tell them that, or should I just avoid it? Tell me in the comments if I should warn them that their house is haunted because my dog doesn't like it. And that is the LITTERBOX. Quickly, before we continue, I would like to plug our Patreon, patreon.com/NightCatShow. Here's the thing, it's a great service, it helps me keep NightCat going. You, as a patron, would be able to support this show at $3 or $5 a month, whatever you can afford. If you can afford more than that, great. I'm not going to stop you from pledging more. But $3 or $5 is all I need to keep this show going strong. If you have it in you to donate a little extra, that would be awesome. Patreon.com/NightCatShow. Thank you in advance. It's very helpful. And I think that means it's time for us to get into some sunken treasure. Sunken Treasure is the part of the show where we dig through my toy collection and we play with something awesome! Today, we're finally doing it. I love the Harry Potter candy makers. They're all there on the shelf behind me. I've got like the snake that it makes gummy bugs and you inject slime into them. There's all sorts of cool stuff. There's only one left in the box. You can check out the other ones on the Sunken Treasure playlist. But we've got one more to go. And it is the Harry Potter Iced Pumpkin Drink Maker from Mattel. This came out in 2002. It's product number 57608. Basically, it's just a snow cone maker, like a Snoopy. We all have the Snoopy snow cone makers, right? So you put the ice in the pumpkin, you grind them up, and then you make the syrup in a little cauldron, I guess it looks like. I'm gonna open this. Ooh. Ah, please don't break, please don't break. Even though I open boxes, I still like to be gentle with them because they're still good for display purposes. Oh, cute! Some assembly required. Ah, barnacles. I'm gonna be here for 100 years. All right, so we got our crank. Well, crank, crank, crank. Y'all just sort of snap together, I suppose. Ooh. Okay, well, I'm gonna spill that water right on my junk. Oh, okay, so you go into there and just, ha ha ha. There we go, there we have it. Oh, this is actually hella cute. The candy is the original candy that was in it, which expired in 2003. But it's just snow cone mix, right? Like, what can go bad in snow cone mix, you wonder? I guess we're about to find out, aren't we? We've got pumpkin spice mix and the wizard sprinkles mix. Well, obviously we gotta do pumpkin spice, right? I'm white. So I'm filling this up with some clean water. It's a little clumpy. I'm gonna have a hell of a time scooping this. It's not precisely scoopable, I would say, if I crunch it up. Ooh. It doesn't smell bad, though. If you remember back when we opened the Professor Sprout's fungus field trip, that stuff smelled so bad I thought I was gonna die. I think that was like episode 2 or 3 or something. It was an earlier one. But you can find all of it in the Sunken Treasure playlist on the Nightcap with Nightcat YouTube channel. This one, however, doesn't smell so bad, even though it's equally the same amount expired. There's one scoop. Whoop. Oh, it's purple. Cute. Purple pumpkin spice. Aha. All right, now we mix this until it becomes some sort of syrup, allegedly, is what's supposed to happen. All right, I guess that's like as mixed as it's gonna get. Got some ice cubes here. In you go, in you go. 3 ice cubes. This thing's max capacity is 3 ice cubes. My God. So there's a little blade in there, kind of like a pencil sharpener. It's supposed to be dropping shaved ice. Though God knows. Oh, oh man. Well, that might explain it. I think I'm supposed to put the guts in first. It is shaving some ice though. Ah! Snowing! Aha! Okay, well, some assembly required. Try a lot of assembly required. My God. That doesn't clip down, does it? Oh my God. Well, I'll tell you what, it's a pain in the ass just like the Snoopy snow cone maker. Only, so I have to shave this 1 ice cube at a time. That's why this is so complicated. Oh my God, are you kidding me? 1 at a time? 1 at a time? What child has time for this? Don't you have things to do? Don't you have clarinet practice or some shit? Why are we doing it like this? Well, that's a lot easier. Typical man doesn't read the instructions. Headline news for the day. I'm not gonna be able to do anything with my arms tomorrow. One cube at a time, apparently. Because this is my personal hell. Alright, we have to be done. Not because we're out of ice, but because my arms don't want to work ever again. We dump on our pumpkin juice potion. It's got to be okay. It's just sugar. Right? It's just sugar. People are drinking like Thomas Jefferson's beer and stuff, you know? I'm certainly not the only one to be eating old food. That is actually really good. Oh, I thought it was going to be gross, but it's delicious. Well, I'll tell you what, it wasn't worth the 9 hours of labor it took to make one bowl of pumpkin snow cone. But overall, the Harry Potter iced pumpkin juice maker is very, very cute. I can't say that it's fun because I didn't enjoy myself putting it together. I didn't enjoy the process of making it, and the snow cone was good, but it wasn't good enough to justify what this pumpkin just did to me. And that is Sunken Treasure. All right, we're gonna roll the show into a new bit, so new that I don't even have an open built for it yet, but we're going for it anyway. I love conspiracy theories. You know how much I love a good conspiracy theory. Even if I don't believe in most of them, I love hearing about them. And there's one that's very persistent that people ask about all the time because they know how into it I am. Let's get into NIGHTCAT-SPIRACY. Welcome to the NIGHTCAT-SPIRACY Corner. I'm going to tell you the origins of some conspiracy theories. Maybe I'll tell you some of my conspiracy theories down the road. But I thought the perfect way to kick this bit off would be with a conspiracy theory that I've been talking about for years. If you're new to NIGHTCAT, I used to host a morning radio show here in Salt Lake City. And I've known for a long time the truth about Avril Lavigne. Avril Lavigne has been dead for years and a body double took over and has been living her life as her to continue making money off of the Avril Lavigne name. Now the reason I bring it up, Avril Lavigne was recently in the news again, and I always get sent Avril Lavigne news articles from my friends and like people who used to listen to my radio show that are like, seems like Melissa's up to some stuff. So I thought it would be fun to tell you what evidence I'm aware of as to why Avril Lavigne is dead and why a body double took over. Back in 2004, her first album came out. It was a wild success. Everyone knew who she was. Skater Boy, Complicated. I mean, there are a million different ways you know Avril Lavigne back then. But the fame was too much for her. It was getting to her. And then suddenly her grandpa died, and her grandpa, who she had been close to her whole life, was just suddenly gone. She was facing all this big scary pressures from the world for being famous. She didn't have her support grandpa there, so she took her own life, is the way it goes. Well, she had just finished writing her second album, and they could not stomach the thought of losing the money on that album. So the record company got together and they found a body double who looked almost exactly like her. And it wasn't hard to find a lookalike because the record company allegedly had already hired someone for the job. So this person looked so much like Avril Lavigne, they hired her to distract the paparazzi. So they'd be like, they'd bring out, her name is Melissa. They'd bring Melissa out to wave at the cameras and stuff while the real Avril Lavigne snuck out the back. So they already had a lookalike who was passing as Avril Lavigne anyway. So here's the evidence that this blogger has gathered. Starting with number one, the moles. Now that's original Avril, we'll call her Avril. And then over here, to your left is Melissa. Now, Avril Lavigne has 4 famous moles on her arm, right? They're all circled there. Now, Melissa also has those 4 famous moles, but you're gonna see an unidentifiable cluster there on the bottom of her arm that you didn't see before. And the blogger believes that the other moles, those 1, 2, 3, 4 moles that you see that match the first picture over here, well, those are obviously plastic surgery. Those were put on her as an attempt to continue covering up their lies in case anyone comes looking. But how do you explain those other moles there, huh? There's also a discrepancy in their height. Allegedly, Melissa is about 1 inch shorter than Avril Lavigne. Do people just shrink? Yeah, they do. But do people just shrink for the sake of the story? No, they don't. There are also really subtle differences in their face. People will go through and dissect it online. It's not worth our time to dissect it, but they look different enough that you might think that that's a different person. Or Maybe Avril Lavigne got a bunch of money, and money makes you hot, and money allows you to get surgeries and stuff to alter your appearance a little bit, to take care of those little things that annoy you. And listen, no shade. I am an advocate of plastic surgery. If you can afford it and it's something that you want to do, it's something you're confident about and will make you feel better, go to town, honey, get your plastic surgery. I'm not shaming anybody for doing it. I'm just saying, now that she's rich and famous, she has the money to do it. So if you're seeing any facial differences, I would say it's filler or Botox or something like that. It makes your face look pretty dramatically different. That's why you don't want just any old buddy putting needles into your face. Get someone who knows what they're doing. Don't just let anybody, don't let like your local like esthetician be like, oh yeah, no, I know what I'm doing. I can get my hands on Botox. From where? Go to like a registered professional who does that sort of thing, because if you mess up your face, people will notice, and they'll notice fast. The second piece of evidence is Avril Lavigne's second album, Under My Skin. Now, look at the cover. It's so dark. It's so gloomy. It's almost mournful. She's mourning. Avril Lavigne is all in black. Under My Skin. Well, that's just Melissa telling us that she's living underneath Avril's skin right now. She's like the wolf in sheep's clothing, if you ask. Even though, let's say that this is all true and Melissa has been living her life, she hasn't done anything bad. I'm not gonna go, like, get mad at Melissa for this. I feel like I'm only saying this to coax Melissa out of hiding. Melissa, tell us the truth. So anyway, there's all this symbolism that they look for. Obviously, she's crossed out with a red X because she's dead. You can read into it, but you can make a conspiracy out of anything. I'm just telling you the cold hard facts of the case, the cold hard facts. After that second album comes out where it's all dark and gloomy and gothy, she gets so bubblegum pop. She starts dressing in pink and pretty poppy things. She starts making songs like Girlfriend, Hey, you, I don't like your girlfriend. Why the sudden change? All of a sudden, she's just a completely different person. It's almost like pop music pumps a bunch of money into you and changes your appearance to make you more appealing to more people so that they can make money. No, that can't be it. It's gotta be a different person. That's Melissa's personality coming through, obviously. Now, Avril Lavigne has adamantly denied these rumors for years, but Melissa is a real person. She's like on Twitter. People know who she is. All I'm saying is if you'd like to put these rumors to rest forever, all you gotta do is get into a live video, you on one side, Melissa comes into the room. Avril, it would be so easy to just, not a picture, because I know how you people can Photoshop those. I want an Instagram live video where you're there talking and playing your music or something, and Melissa comes in so we know you're two different people. But you can't do it, can you? Because you never see Batman and Bruce Wayne in the same room at the same time. Avril Lavigne, I'm on to you. Melissa, I'm on to you, girl. And that is the NIGHTCAT-SPIRACY CORNER. I think we should get into some of my traumatizing personal stories with another Nightcat Classic Tale. Nightcat Classic Tales is the part of the show where we dig through my childhood trauma and I recount it. I tell you about it, because it's usually pretty funny, even though it's horrifying and embarrassing for me. Usually, not this time. This is horrifying and embarrassing for the company I used to work for. I worked at a movie theater for like 5 years. I was an assistant manager for 2 of those years. And a lot of horrifying things happened at the movie theater. We deal with a lot of people. It's a huge building. We had things like bats get into the movie theater, police raids because they were looking for missing kids. We had a guy living behind the screens in the movie theater because, like, it's not just a flat screen on a wall. There's like a little room behind the screen where the speakers are, and we found a guy just living behind a couple of the screens. But this might be one of the most horrifying things that ever happened while I was working there, and it didn't even happen at my theater, but I ended up having to pay the price for it. A man walked into the same movie theater chain that I worked for, and he asked if they had seen his father. And they were like, no, we haven't like seen him. He showed a picture or whatever. And the guy was like, well, that's funny because his car has been parked. His truck has been parked in your parking lot for a couple days, and he's been missing for a few days. And they were like, well, I don't know what to tell you. We haven't seen him. He's not around. You can go look around if you want. So the guy leaves. Well, a while later, God, I should have looked up all the details because it's been a while since this happened, but I think the old man had been missing for like a week or like 5 days or something like that. A smell started to come from one of the unisex family bathrooms, and they didn't have a key to get into it, and it had been locked. So a manager ended up breaking the door open, and that old man had a heart attack on that toilet like 3 or 5 days before, and had been rotting in that bathroom ever since. Now here's the really, really gross part. This gets graphic, I'm sorry. So he has a heart attack on the toilet. He grabs hold of the walls and like is, I don't know, either power pushing or dying. I don't know which one. But he grabs hold of the walls and he dies with his hands gripping the wall. They had decayed to the wall to the point where the police or fire department, or I don't know who had to do it, but they had to cut a hole in the wall around his hand and take out chunks of the wall with his hand as they carried his body out of the theater. And it was all because no employees had checked in on that bathroom for days. And that happened in my district. So our district manager suddenly became very invested in the cleanliness and security of our bathrooms. I had essentially become a bathroom attendant. We were expected to check like every 4 minutes whether or not there was a dead guy in the bathroom, which, guys, listen, that was one lazy staff. We would have missed it too because we were also lazy, but it didn't happen to us, did it? If they found so much as like a popcorn kernel on the floor out of place, you got a write-up. The bathroom suddenly became the most important thing. I was babysitting bathrooms until I left that job. I don't know when they have to have stopped that by now, but that was one of the worst things that ever happened, and thank God it didn't happen under my watch because I honestly don't know how I would have handled it. All I can think about is that poor listen, that manager was probably like 18, 19 years old. They were making $11 an hour to run a staff of like 20 people who didn't want to be there. And so they just go kick down the door, bust it open, and they just see this. Dead guy on a toilet, rotted to the wall. I hope you're okay. Whoever you are, I hope you're okay. But the good news is, if you went into the movie theater between the years of like 2011 to 2013, I can personally guarantee you that was the cleanest those bathrooms had ever been. You were in good hands. And that is Nightcat Classic Tales. I think it's time to put you little night kittens to bed with some warm milk. Warm milk, good news stories to help you get to sleep. I love animal stories, and I love animal rescue stories, but I think I love baby animal rescue stories the most. Animal rescuers in New Jersey saved over 800 baby turtles from the sewer recently. Okay, take a look at how cute these things are. Look at those babies! Oh, I want one so bad. The diamondback terrapin turtle is native to that area, but when they cross streets, they have a habit of falling down into storm drains. So what they think ended up happening is a mama fell down into a storm drain and laid her eggs down there, and suddenly all of these babies were born in the sewer, poor babies. And they were so young that they were still feasting off of their yolk sacs. So they were babies, hatchlings, when rescuers found them. Rescuers were able to use like a telescoping aquarium net attached to a long stick of bamboo to reach down and scoop them all up. They found 826 baby turtles. That right there, that's only just a collection of them. That's a small part. Stockton University is now taking care of the babies and will raise them for the next year until they're big and healthy enough to release back out into the wild. Here's my opinion though. I say take 4 of those turtles, feed them nothing but pizza, introduce them to an old, wise rat who can teach them martial arts, and we got Ninja Turtles. We could have up to 800. Those are sewer turtles. I know what sewer turtles do. They fight crime. Don't tell me that they don't fight crime, okay? We could have 800 Ninja Turtles, but you're gonna feed them nice food and send them out into the wild where they belong, instead of fighting crime on the streets. There's so much crime the turtles could be fighting. That is Warm Milk, and that is Nightcap with Nightcat, episode 19. Can you believe it? 19 episodes. This is wild. Go back and watch the other ones if you haven't. That would be super awesome. Welcome, welcome, welcome to all the new viewers. Don't forget to hit that bell, subscribe to the channel, like this video, comment on it. The audio version of every episode can be found on the Nightcat Radio podcast. Look for it on your favorite podcast directory. The link for it is in the description of this video. Just find the link tree, linktr.ee/JacksonWitt. Click on that. It'll take you to the podcast. It'll take you everywhere you want to go, including all the social media handles, anywhere you want to find more Nightcat information, down in the link tree. Listen to this, subscribe to it, give me a review. It would be very helpful if I got some reviews. Don't forget, we have new true crime episodes of the Nightcat Radio podcast. We call those Curiosity Killed Nightcat. Those come out every Friday. We talk about a true crime or a paranormal story. Hey, thank you so much for watching. I will see you tomorrow if you watch Morning Announcements, but I will see you next week for another episode of Nightcap with Nightcat. Bye!